What's up, everyone? So today I am right next to Willow Lake, taking a walk in the woods. So this is right on top of where the IND World's Fair line once ran through in the 1930s. As you can see, Willow Lake is right next to me, and historical photos always show the lake to the left, and the Wyck Expressway is here to my right. So what I'm here to show you guys today is little bits and pieces of evidence that still remain from the IND World's Fair line. Now, some of these little pieces might actually just be debris and debris that has left over the years, but I want to show you guys one specific thing here that is undeniably evidence and infrastructure from the World's Fair line. So take a look at this, guys. Undeniably, this is a rail, an actual train track rail from the 1930s that belonged to the IND World's Fair line, right here next to Willow Lake. Yes, it's real. I was also in disbelief too when I came across this, because as many know, the IND World's Fair line was intended to be a temporary line and actually built with temporary infrastructure so that it was easy to remove when the line was discontinued in the late 30s. And when it was removed, everything was removed, all tracks, all infrastructure, but it appears that little bits and pieces such as this one still exist. So that twisted piece of metal sticking up out of the ground is most likely a piece of third rail. These rails would be approximately 90 years old. Actually, possibly a little younger. If it was the mid 30s, yeah, these rails are this rail is between 85 and 90 years old. So I did try to dig deeper, dig in the rail and see if I could find a date, but of course this thing is literally so old it's almost impossible. Despite that, I have seen rails as old as 1912, my own eyes. There's other little things such as rebar that sticks out of the ground. If I walk a little further here, there's oddly just random rebar sticking out of the ground, just randomly out from dirt piles. There's also a bunch of mounds of dirt piles around here too, which are all kind of misorganized here compared to the rest of the land here. It's a little more consistent. So I'm trying to show you guys little bits of rebar that were sticking out of the ground before. Okay, we're a little closer to the Van Wyck, a little further north. There's some bits of concrete and random rebar sticking out of the ground. Here's a fence that possibly existed next to the World's Fair line. Now I'm also about to show you guys what is possibly remnants of a signal tower, a concrete signal tower block. I'm about to show you guys right now. All right, one last piece here. This small signal block right here is possibly evidence. Bird scared me. My nervous system is a little sensitive here. So this concrete block may actually just be part of a signal tower that was part of the IND World's Fair line. This is what I initially stumbled across when I came here to Willow Lake, to the Pat Dolan Trail, which ends right there. Part of it ends right there. It branches off. Again, this is Willow Lake. This is the lake just south of Flushy Meadow Park. And if I go just a little further, which I will in a minute, you guys can see Terrace in the Park and the rest of Flushy Meadow. But here you have it. What looks like, very possibly, is a piece of a concrete base for a signal tower for the IND World's Fair line. Now, or some sort of infrastructure equipment. The evidence here is the metal pole that ran through it. As you can see, that's a piece of metal. And this concrete does look like it can be about 90 years old with this condition. Look at how much the rocks have deteriorated inside. This is filled in, which is interesting. There you have it. Possible remaining infrastructure from the IND World's Fair subway line from the 1930s. Now, the only other thing I'd like to discover around here are railroad ties, but those ties would be about unbelievable. As I'm speaking about it, look what I've come across. So as you can see, these are pegs that held down rails. I did not notice this before. This is actually a piece of a tie from the World's Fair line. This spike is the IND's. Wow. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? There's another one right here. So there you go. There's still physical evidence remaining of the IND World's Fair line from the 1930s. There's another possible tie. A few more actually. This is next to the Pat Dolan Trail, south of Flushing Meadow Park. I'm facing north right now. Now I'm facing approximately south towards Jamaica Yard, where this line would have connected. And I invite you guys to come out here and take a look for yourself. I do recommend coming within the next few weeks before it gets overgrown. If you're watching this during the summertime, during the fall time, I highly recommend coming out here when nature hasn't grown to its full summer-filled nature everywhere. I'm not really sure what words to use here, but essentially come here before it is overgrown, because once it's grown with bugs and extra plant life, it makes it a lot more difficult to get through. But here you have it, remaining possible infrastructure of the IND World's Fair line, especially with that part of the tie right there. I'm going to end this video with a view of Willow Lake and all the way up towards Meadow Lake and the rest of Flushing Meadow Park. Oops. So here's Willow Lake. There's Terrace in the Park. There's the abandoned hospital building. There's Jewel Avenue. And behind me is Jamaica Yard. Can't be seen through the trees, but Jamaica Yard is directly south of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this mini exploration video detailing the little bits and pieces that still exist of the IND World's Fair line. I do invite you guys to come out here and take a look for yourselves, especially before things are overgrown. Hope you guys enjoyed this clip. Keep exploring.